Greetings and welcome to the 18th episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases. As always, I'm your host Dark Elf Guy, and this week we have another 13 mods for your viewing pleasure, this time around with a bit of a Mournhold theme to them. As usual, you can find the download links to all these mods in the description below. Now why don't we go ahead and get started with our popular mod of the week, which this week is Aldendoral by Otar Voorhees Kramer. Aldendoral is a new district added to Mournhold, with a number of new buildings, not to mention quite a few gardens, as you can see here. There's a few random things to see here, such as a magic chair that'll just float off into the sky. As well as a marketplace, where you can stock up on a number of goods. There's also a Mages Guild, where you can find a number of magic-related quests. Not to mention a Fighters Guild, with a quest or two of its own. There's even a brothel here, where you can go to relax. If you're into that sort of thing anyway. Of course, thieves haven't been forgotten. And you can find a Thieves Guild here, as well with a number of quests. For our house mod of the week this week, we're taking a look at Amando's Manor by Amando. This is a new home in the Godsreach district of Mournhold, with a rather colourful set of furnishings, as you can see here. This naturally includes a lovely kitchen, with a nice little bar area. As well as some dining space. There's also a decent sized display room where you can store your possessions. Overall, there's quite a bit of storage and display space here for you to use. As well as a bedroom, quite naturally. This week's gameplay mod of the week is Mournhold Overhaul by TRJTA. This mod acts as both a texture replacer for Mournhold, and as a detail mod, adding new clutter and NPCs to the streets of Mournhold. No longer is the capital city barren of life and clutter. It is now more properly inhabited, with evidence of life everywhere. In addition, there's now distant land trees and buildings in the background. Gardens have also been improved, with much more detail than before. Not to mention beggars. Now you can choose to help out if you so desire. The residential sector of Mournhold has also been properly overhauled, with new NPCs, cots, crates, barrels, and everything in between. Along with the plaza, which has also been completely overhauled and looks much more scenic now. For our Dungeon Mod of the Week this week, we have Dunzol by PCC, otherwise known as Blockhead. Dunzol is a massive new dungeon, spanning from the sewers of Mournhold to the city of Vivec on Vardenfell. This dungeon is randomly generated for the most part, with a large array of enemies for you to face and defeat, from the lowly rat to the more aggressive goblins and Dark Brotherhood agents. Overall, there's some 95 different dungeon interiors that make up this massive complex. And they vary widely in environments, from large underground Daedric ruins that you can see here, to massive Dwemer chambers. There's a lot to fight through on this trip to the mainland. This week's Items Mod of the Week is Void Gear by Kiev. With this mod you'll find a new vendor in Mournhold, offering a variety of goods for sale that range from void armor to void weapons and void clothes. These all cost a pretty septim though, so you have to bring quite a lot of gold. Here you can see 3 of the outfits available, as well as one of the crossbows. There's attire for both warriors and assassins, so no matter your gameplay type, there's some armor for you. Here's 2 more of the outfits available, along with one of the swords. These are quite stylish armor pieces, if I do say so myself. And there's plenty more outfits to check out as well. Next up is our quest mod of the week, and this week we have To Serve Sithis by Ian. This quest mod starts out in Balmora, where a man will ask you about doing some interesting work for him. This in turn will take you to an NPC asking you to commit a minor murder. Should you agree to the terms and kill the target, like you'll see here, you'll be granted access to the new Dark Brotherhood chapter on Vardenfell. Not to be mistaken for the Dark Brotherhood chapter on mainland Morrowind. And this chapter is headed by none other than Lucien Lechant. Do remember that Morrowind takes place 6 years before the events of Oblivion, so technically no lore is being broken here. In addition, the members of this chapter each have unique backstories. As you can see here, as well as a variety of services they can provide you. And as you do work for the Dark Brotherhood, they'll sometimes have different ways of killing targets available. As part of this new questline, you'll get to murder your way across Vardenfell as you seek to greater serve Sithis. This week's Landmass Mod of the Week is Mournhold Expanded by Princess Stomper. As the name implies, this mod greatly expands Mournhold with several new districts. These are not simply small new additions though, but large districts that could easily dwarf the original Mournhold, with dozens of new vendors and even a few new quests as well. There's also some new interior tile sets that make for some very cool looking buildings, as you can see here. And in addition, you can eventually convince most people to be your companions and give them various orders, such as dancing. As you can see here. To give you a sense of scale, here's a quick glance at the new Docks District, which is quite massive. And here you can see the docks up close. There's naturally a number of new items for sale, such as a number of new dresses and outfits that you can purchase from various clothiers. Here you can see another one of the new districts. This time with a new architectural style about it. And it's quite massive as well. There's even a bank here where you can deposit and withdraw gold. As you can see here. You'll also find a district of Khajiits here. There's not really a whole lot to see beyond a few shacks. Now you may even come across a new underground Argonian district as well, which is surprisingly scenic. And also where you can find this stylish new dance club. There's also a number of theme parks that include a number of rides, like this one here, which is Halloween themed. Quite spooky, isn't it? You can even find provincial parks, one for each province of the Empire. And there's all this and much, much more waiting for you to discover in Mournhold Expanded. For our NPC Mod of the Week this week, we have Goblin Shamans by Midget Alien. This mod adds a new creature called a Goblin Shaman to the game. Included primarily in the Goblin leveled lists for Mournhold. As the name implies, this is a magic-based casting goblin that will attack you with fire and shock spells, as you can see here. This week's new Meshes and Textures mod of the week is Phelan's Mournhold, the Emerald City, by Phelan. This is a texture replacer for Mournhold that gives the city a lovely green marble feel about it. As you can see here. This includes unique buildings, like Almalexia's Temple. And the gates to the Royal Palace. Here you can see the Great Bazaar and these new textures, which look quite scenic if I do say so myself. And here you can see the interior textures. Quite lovely looking, aren't they? With this texture replacer, you'll get to experience the magic of Mournhold like never before, with some lovely green marble. Next up is our Modder's Resource Mod of the Week, and this week we have Ruins by Battery86. This resource includes a number of models for building exterior ruins. From small houses to large towers, there's quite a bit of variety to choose from in terms of ruined environments. Here you can see one of the ruins close up. And here's a slightly larger ruin with a bit of decoration to it. It even has a second floor. And here's a slightly different, ruined plaza piece. And finally, we have the tower, which has a full interior of multiple floors. As you can see here. With these resources, you can make your own exterior-based city ruins for your own mods. This week's underrated mod of the week is The Modern Adventurer by Ganberry Gan, Raptor Meat, Bee, Salichin, and Striker. This mod adds a new in-game newspaper that you can buy from various booksellers both in Mournhold and around Vvardenfell. These newspapers include a number of articles you can read, as well as letters to the editor, and advertisements for new items that you can now find in shops. Not to mention hints about new quests. As you can see here, there's a fair amount of material to read. You can even visit the newspaper offices in Vivec, and talk to the authors of the mod. Each mod author has a bit of unique dialogue about the newspaper. And they'll even offer you a few quests to do. As you can see here. You may even get to write your own edition of the paper. Of course, that's not all. There's also some new dungeons added by this mod. As you can see here. These new dungeons may or may not come with a few new quests as well. The Modern Adventurer has all of this and much more for you to discover. For a Blast from the Past mod of the week this week, we have Museum of Artifacts improved, expanded by Princess Stomper and the other Felix. This mod revamps the Mournhold Museum, adding a bunch of random items and artifacts, and organising them into different areas and categories. This makes for a vast improvement over the barren museum in vanilla Morrowind. And as you can see here, the museum is indeed quite cluttered. With more than a few artifacts already in place for you to check out. Of course, you can still give the museum artifacts that you've discovered. And this mod actually makes it possible for you to give more artifacts than you originally could. Once you sell them to the museum, they'll still show up on display as normal, as you can see here. Finally, for our bonus mod of the week this week, we have Get Fezzed by Superstore. This mod adds a curious fez to the market in Mournhold, which you can buy after the merchant in question gives you a very lengthy backstory about it. After that, you can put it on and instantly become bold. Not only that, but you also get the power to curse people with a fez of their very own, as you can see here. And this will of course make them bald as well, which may not be a problem for some people. Not even the gods are safe from this treachery. Ah, my dear Duke Drin, I thought you would look especially lovely in a fez. Don't you agree? Absolutely no one is safe from your fez-wielding powers. As you can see here. Soon you will take over the world with the power of Fez. That's it for this week. As always, you can find the download links for each mod down in the description below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. I'll see you all next week with another 13 mods for your viewing pleasure.